Hello everyone, it's DuckFairy07. Today we are playing brew I like to call Zoo Dragons. Okay, so this is brew I made some time ago, always had good results with it and a lot of fun. The point of this build is kind of a fancy burn build, which is playing a lot of spells that can deal damage to face. So we got bolts, we got flames, Phlage, same as in the most Zoo builds recently. We got also Invasion of Tarkirs, which deal 2 damage and additional damage for every dragon you reveal while casting it. So you got 8 dragons in this build, 4 regions, a full Scion of Draco. So the Regent is also a card that works great in this build. It especially plays out nicely with Leyline of the Guildpact. So if you have Leyline of the Guildpact on the field, when this guy dies, it actually deals 5 damage to any target because it's all permanents are all colors. So that's pretty sweet. And also, if you have Leyline of the Guildpact in your hand when you have this guy on the field, you can draw 5 cards, which is amazing, which makes Leyline of the Guildpact best top deck and not the worst top deck, which it usually is in a situation like that. So other cards in the deck, like usual cards like Territorial Kavu, Sound Draco, Leyline Binding, and Ragavan. And we got 2 Arena of Glories in this build since they are so very good with all the creatures. Ragavan, Kavu, Phlage, Regent, Scion is just really strong with all of them. And the point of Invasion of Tarkir is how easily it flips in this deck into this powerful 4/4 dragon that deals 2 damage whenever a dragon attacks. It really can win some games easily, and it's very strong against Boros energy matchup. So it makes that matchup much easier, especially to the large amount of damage spells you play in a deck. Okay, so a sideboard is the same sideboard as in my regular Zoo version, which I used recently to win a challenge. So no changes to the sideboard. I think this sideboard has all the important pieces right now to fight all the relevant decks. Okay, so that is it. Before we go to the gameplay, I want to remind you about my dictionary profile. You can find link to my dictionary profile down below in the video description. Okay, so on my dictionary, I have 3 recent sideboard guides, all in the medium tier, available for the same price of $10 a month. Once you do that, you have access to them indefinitely. And but constantly I'm making new guides, updating the old ones whenever I have time, at least like once a month I do something relevant there. For those who want to provide the biggest support, you can use the guide tier. I will also do some content for the guide tier. My next sideboard guide will go to the guide tier. And a support tier is a basic tier for just supporting my work here and on YouTube, and also provides access to all the articles I occasionally wrote on the site too. Okay, so that's it. Also, there are some older sideboard guides here for the decks that I didn't really play much post MH3, but will I'll definitely consider try to brew a playable version of these decks. I did make a Blue Zoo version, but I will need to further test it and create a version I'm really happy with. And then I will also make updated Blue Zoo sideboard guide. And Blue Zoo, along with this version, is probably best alternative versions of Zoo I encountered so far. And yeah, this thing works very nicely against Boros energy due to high amount of removal and the burn spells that can effectively hit face. And that's it, so we can now go check out the gameplay. Okay, so match 1, I was playing against Dimir Frogtide. And I was playing second, so I kept medium hand. I have good spells, but only one fetch. So I decided to use it to go for the surveillance and try to dig for that second fetch, and I immediately find it on top. That was good news. This means I will spend my turn 2 just fetching the Xander's Lounge. I think that's completely fine in a matchup like this. So I can just hold binding for their turn and then go Scion on my turn. This plan worked out beautifully for me because my opponent went for the Murktide on their turn 3 and I was able to just immediately hit it with Leyline, and then on my turn play Arena of Glory and give this Scion immediately haste. That was really amazing. My opponent has a subtlety for the Scion, but that's okay. I put it on top, decides to bolt them face immediately and pass the turn. Okay, so I have Scion on top, so I think I'm definitely just playing that this turn. Need to put Scion on the field, start hitting them with Scion. It's kind of hard for them to deal with Scion. They play stuff like a Fatal Push, which just doesn't do much against it, so they have to basically either sink into Stupor it or Tavara it or just block it with Murktide, and at this point they don't really have a fuel to play a large Murktide, so I decided to go Phlage face. Put Phlage in the yard with Arena of Glory. It's always a pretty big threat. And I go 3 phase, attack with Scion. My opponent fetches down to 7, and the next turn I have lethal with Tribal Flames and Scion Draco. But I also draw a Regent, and I decide to cast a Regent with haste. Both of my creatures have flying, so they can't jump. And unless they have counterspell, that's it. Also, if they just kill the Regent, it will also do some damage, which is helpful. Okay, so I go in for lethal in this game, so let's check out another one. Okay, so the sideboarding plan for this matchup, I wanted to bring in a couple of pick your poisons, removed 2 invasions, trimmed 1 Ragavan, 1 Bolt, 1 Flames, 1 Regent to bring in some additional cards which are graveyard hate pieces. So in this game I had Leyline of the Guildpact and played my Territorial Kavu. Opponent unfortunately has Fatal Push for Kavu and also has Fatal Push for Ragavan. So kind of bad news for me. I was afraid a little maybe that they could have Harbinger of the Seas, so I decided to fetch my basic mountain so I can kill that guy and play some of my spells. And I was able to play that Soul Guide Lantern, but I did not draw into land I needed for my Regent, so I decided to crack the Lantern immediately to try to just draw. Okay, so here I draw into Arena of Glory, which was great news. I was able to play the Moonveil Regent with haste. And since now I resolved this guy, basically when it dies, it deals 5 damage to any target. And I was also able to use the Territorial Kavu here to discard the Leyline of the Guildpact to find the Tribal Flames. That was really relevant because yeah, Tribal Flames is a lot of damage to face, and here now it is a race. Opponent goes for the Murktide. Also, the thing is with Tribal Flame, with all the spells, and when I have Regent on the field, I can draw a card to whenever I cast any spell. So this time I decided to draw a card, but maybe it wasn't the best decision since I allowed my opponent to create this Orc Army token. A better thing would be if I just attacked in this, if I played the Tribal Flames in the second main phase. Okay, good thing I went for the mountain there since opponent did actually have that Harbinger. So opponent now plays double frog. Yeah. Okay, so I play the hearse. I don't want to let them draw again to make another Orc Army token. So I played the Hearse. They have to exile all the cards, and they have to discard a card from their hand in response to give their creature flying. And I can now again draw a card, but I choose not to because of the Bowmaster. I just play the Ragavan and stay back with all my creatures. Okay, so one opponent now attacks with everything. And I just block with Regent, and yeah, Regent just dies and it deals 5 damage to opponent's face, finish them off. So I guess opponent didn't have a way to block a flyer next turn, so that they didn't have any way out, so that's it. Okay, so let's check out now match 2. Okay, so in the match 2, I start off with the Leyline of the Guildpact and the turn 1 Ragavan. That's really good. I don't have a Scion yet, but games usually nowadays go long and you have a lot of time to find a Scion. And once you find a Scion, it's just amazing. Since I saw that my opponent is playing Yagmoth, I decided to trade Ragavan for Halfling since Ragavan is mostly useless against them when they have stuff like a Young Wolf. Okay, but I find Scion or Draco the combo with Leyline, of course, and opponent has the One Ring and the Birthing Ritual and the Bowmaster, now sacrificing the Young Wolf to find something there. Okay, so I went for the Portico, finding Binding on top. And I went for the Invasion first, killing the Young Wolf. Young Wolf is a kind of their combo piece. I go in for 9 damage, that is a lot of damage. And I also decided to Binding the Ring. Maybe this wasn't... Yeah, maybe this wasn't the best idea. Maybe the best way was just to let them take damage from the ring. I think that was probably the best. They would still probably play the ring. It was a close call, but yeah, I decided to go for it. Okay, now I still have the bolt, but opponent unfortunately has protection from the One Ring. So I attack here just to flip the invasion. So I flip the invasion into the very strong 4/4 dragon, and I have certain kill next turn. But yeah, my opponent draws a lot of cards and has the Innkeeper. They go for the Geralf Messenger. I only had a bolt right now. I decided to kill the Innkeeper in response. And my opponent has more mana to cast their Yagmoth. They don't have a life gain here, so they can't do this indefinitely. So they still need a Chord of Calling in their hand or find something with Ritual. Opponent sacrifices the wolf, only to find another young wolf, and they can't really do anything about this army on my side of the field. So they concede despite having 2 rings and the ritual and the Yagmoth and all this stuff. It still wasn't enough. Okay, so let's check out game 2. Oh yeah, the Invasion of Tarkir at that time when I remember the time when Yagmoth was one of the best decks out there. So I played a lot of Invasion of Tarkir in all of my zoo builds. It was really amazing there. Okay, so here I went for the survey land, finding another land on top, which allows me to go for the full domain. And I don't know what did my opponent do, but they kept a hand with a single Dryad Arbor that doesn't make any sense, and yet they didn't draw into second land and quickly concede. That was one of the weirdest games. Okay, but let's go check out match 3. I never seen somebody just keep a Dryad Arbor and nothing else. Okay, so here I have I don't have my Scion or Territorial Kavu, but I find Scion from the top here, but decide to go for a turn 1 Ragavan anyway. And go for a Sacred Foundry, then play. Unfortunately, I can't, with the Xander's Lounge, you can't go turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Connect, play Scion. That is not an option. But it's okay. So here I find a full domain. Go for the Ragavan and next again successfully connect. And I go for the Invasion of Tarkir first, so I can reveal the Scion or Draco, deal additional damage, put them down on 9, then play the Scion and pass the turn. Still have a Leyline binding for their turn. If they play the ring, I can take it before they draw a card. Okay, so they do play the ring, but that's okay. I will spend that turn just flipping the Invasion. Invasion actually plays pretty decent into against these ring decks. Okay, opponent plays ring again, but I have a lot of damage on the field, and I also have 2 Tribal Flames in hand, so they need to concentrate on dealing with my board state. And if they do that, I can still finish them off with the Tribal Flames, so that's not enough. But they can't even kill my creatures, so that's an easy win there. Again, I was playing against Jeskai, but not the classic control, but the version that plays Dress Downs and Consign to Memories and Null Drifters, stuff like that. Okay, so game 2, and let's check out the sideboarding plan. Okay, so again, kind of similar sideboard plan. I have 1 bolt goes out, 1 regent goes out, a couple of invasion go out. This time I put in stubborn denials. I think they are important in this matchup, can counter stuff like their removal, dress downs, consigns to memory, which they often use to keep Null Drifter on the field. Okay, so here I go for the Ragavan, and opponent has a subtlety. That is fine. They also have a Phlage into consign, deal 3 and keep Phlage on the field, but that's okay for me, because in this deck I play Leyline bindings and can actually deal with that. Okay, so here I go for another binding, take the ring and play the Scion of Draco, and my opponent is only on 2 cards in hand, and I have a lot. I have Stubborn Denial here, and yeah, timely Stubborn Denial, getting rid of that dress down. That was like really important. Opponent now has Verdict to kill my kills my Kavu. That's fine. I put Phlage in the yard. They don't have Phlage since it's exiled below the binding. I play another Kavu. I have Bolt in my hand, and yeah, I decide to go face immediately. And now discard the Leyline binding and find land. I can now find a second white land and Phlage from the yard. Also, I can play Moonveil Regent or Invasion of Tarkir. A lot of damage. Overall, whatever I draw deals damage. So, as you can see here, Invasion of Tarkir from hand can deal 3 right now. Regent also deals some damage when it dies. Yeah, opponent draws 2 more with Null Drifter, doesn't find a solution, and that is it. Okay, so that was match 3. Very quick matches actually. Let's check out the last match of this league, and then we will check out the defeat. Okay, so this was actually the last match. I was playing against Eldrazi's, I think. Starting with Leyline of the Guildpact, turn 1 Ragavan. Don't have Scion yet, but it's always so sweet to start with the Leyline of the Guildpact in today's meta. Okay, so now I have Tarkir, I have Phlage, I have Binding. That is fairly good. It's also sweet that in this matchup I can often just very easily connect here. And here I go for the Kavu and the Binding, taking away their expedition map, making it harder for them to find all the Tron pieces. Okay, so here I go again, attacking with both. I decide to put Phlage in the yard. This way I can play the Phlage directly from the yard. I need 5 more cards in the yard to do so, but yeah, that's okay. I play Flames. Face, I have lethal on the field, so I decide to hold Invasion of Tarkir in my hand. My opponent doesn't have a solution for my lethal on the board next turn, so they concede. That is it. Let's check out game 2. Okay, so in the game 2, we will check out the sideboarding plan. I think against Eldrazi's Invasion of Tarkir is probably the weakest piece, since they don't play small creatures I can kill with the dragon triggers. Also, it's the burn piece that deals least damage. So it goes away to the sideboard in this matchup. Also, together with it, I removed a couple of Moonveil Regents and 1 Phlage, 1 Bolt. A lot of actually cards went out here. I used Pick Your Poisons from the sideboard and Damping Spheres, which are good against most of the Tron decks. But my draws weren't really the best draws I could have here. 1 Leyline on the field and draw 2 more Leylines of the Guildpact. That was definitely not what I wanted. Okay, so opponent plays the Mycospawn here, also kills my land. Mycospawn is yeah, not a big threat, but yeah, if they didn't kill my land there, I would be able to Arena of Glory the Phlage from the yard, kill the Mycospawn, deal 9 damage to their face, and I would be like pretty close to just winning this game. But I was able to do it now, turn after. That wasn't as good. I still decided to go to face with everything. My opponent killed my Arena of Glory, and they are on 5. They are on 5, so next turn I have lethal with the Tribal Flames. Yeah, but unfortunately, only thing I have to do here is just cast this Tribal Flames to win the game. This means I need 2 lands to win the game. But yeah, it was just not enough, and I had to kind of use Phlage there just to kill the Karn. And if I draw a land, I can pick your poison, kill the Titan, but then that also kills my land, which is a problem. So in a pretty bad situation, and I find another Flames, but yeah, that's not it. Opponent has the clock, and I won't be able to kill them with Flames, so that is the game for the opponent. Kind of a weird game where I win in most situation except if they cast the Sundering Titan, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, Okay, so Leyline of the Guildpact. I have Ragavan, only 2 Ragavans to start with, no other spells. Okay, the important thing is that if you have a Leyline of the Guildpact and you play Arena of Glory, it doesn't enter untapped. Someone told me once that it enters the untapped because it counts itself as a mountain, but that is not the case. You definitely have to have any other land on the field for it to enter untapped, which is also like pretty cool. And yeah, here I surveil Phlage in the yard. That is always good. I love when that happens. Surveil another card and put another card in the yard. And now I'm kind of close to triggering Phlage. From the yard with Arena of Glory, that is always a strong play. I also have Scion of Draco with haste, which means that is very close to the kill already. And yeah. Okay, so opponent again keeps a 1-lander and gets punished. So that was easy win there in game 3. And now let's check out the last match of this league. I think I was playing against Living End, and this is post-ban Living End, so keep an eye on that too, because Living End is not dead. It's actually amazing. Just this deck just keeps on surviving the bans. First, the Violent Outburst. People didn't think it will survive that, but it not only survived, but it also was just very good deck in the meta. And now the Grief is banned, the really key piece of this build, fighting through a lot of hate, and still they just switched to Endurance main, which also is proving to be kind of pretty good addition. Okay, so now I have Phlage in the yard. I can put another Phlage in the yard next turn, deal 3 face. So they're on 13. If they play Living End, I get back 2 Phlages from the yard. That is 6 more damage. This means they're on 7. And if I if I play the Moonveil Regent, then this means 5 more damage when the Moonveil Regent dies, which is great news. But unfortunately, they had the best possible play here, and that was bounce my Leyline of the Guildpact. By bouncing the Leyline of the Guildpact, I did not get to deal 5 damage with the Moonveil Regent, but instead I only did 2 damage because of the Phlage. And I had to stack the abilities correctly to even do any damage, so my opponent was left on 5. Which is a significant difference, because if they were on lower life, I would have a chance of top decking spell for the win. But still, I was able to survive here. If you can find a way to do this, it was by... I had basically more ways to survive this, but I think best was just escaping Phlage from the yard, gaining 3, killing 1 subtlety. So this means now they have 9 damage and I survive on 1, and I have a lethal swing back. Okay, but opponent plays another Charles agent and goes for actually another Living End, but that wasn't enough to kill me still. Because I had another Phlage, kill the subtlety, and survive on enough life. Okay, so here we are. I was on 4, and I still have Phlages in the yard, and I have Scion of Draco in hand, but opponent also finds Endurance to clear my Phlages. And they also find another Living End. That was the 4th Living End. So all 4 Living Deads They needed all 4 to win this game 1, and it was basically perfect draw by the opponent, so I was not able to overcome that last living end, and it was also the living end with endurance backup, so pretty brutal, so I lost that one. Let's check out game 2. This deck has a pretty good living end matchup. It's very favorable, and partially because it has a very strong sideboard plan. So I have 4 stubborn denials. Usually Zoo plays that card in the main, but lately I'm playing it mostly in the sideboard. But I still think it's a good option for main, even as a 2 off, a 3 off, or just a full 4 off. But there are a lot of options. Metagame is different, and we will see now post ban. Okay, so how it turns out. Okay, unfortunately, opponent here has Colossal Sky Turtle. Yeah, that was yeah, really bad for me. But okay, so I still opponent doesn't have the thing this turn, so I have another turn to do something. And I had some options here. I decided to graveyard the Regent and play the Hearse. I can exile 2 of their creatures with the Hearse. So even if they go for the living end, I can remove 2 of their best creatures from the yard. At this point, that is Ant and the Sky Turtle. And the opponent still don't go for the living end this turn, and with Cow on the field and the Hearse, this is becoming harder and harder for them to do anything in this game. Okay, so I go for another Kavu, and I crew the Hearse with Kavu, so I can go for lethal immediately. And I deal 7 to face and bolt them, but I ended up not attacking accidentally, which is actually not, it wasn't that bad. I was able to keep hers back to fight against their if they try to play the living end or something like that. But it didn't really matter since I was able to just attack them with Kavu, finish them off with Tribal Flames, and I have so much of these burn spells left, so that was an easy win. And let's check out the game 3 of this match. Okay, so in the game 3 of this match, I had to mulligan that hand. Lands were just too awkward, and yeah. Here I keep Leyline of the Guildpact with the 2 Scion of Dracos. Okay, so my plan is to play 1 Scion and keep the second one after they play the Living End. If they play a Living End early enough, I can often just win a fair game this way and not have to like not have to use Scion of Jacob before they use the living end, but after they use it, and then I have like Scion of Jacob plus Leyline of the Guildpact combo, and that is actually often enough to win this matchup. Opponent here is still just not playing the living dead. They still don't have the thing. I think, yeah, I was thinking about going for Ragavan Dash here, and I think that was the right choice. I should have gone for the Ragavan Dash. Instead, I decided to just cast the Ragavan. Maybe that 2 damage would be relevant in this game. I think there is just a high chance of that happening. Opponent was able to cycle the Curator, then cycle the Waker of the Waves, digging for the Living End still, but they still don't have it. And it maybe could be a bit different if they were on 12 now rather than a 14. Unlicensed Curse is okay, but not that good. Not that good. Since it can only take 2 creatures, and my opponent had another Waker. So I was able to take 2 Wakers and pass the turn. Maybe it was better taking the generous ends actually. Okay, but opponent was able to, but they had a lot, really a lot in the graveyard. That is, I was high on life and I have bold face, but they get 4 food tokens, which means they can gain a lot of life. I still have, I should have played this invasion before to deal extra damage. That was a mistake. It didn't matter much, but yeah, it would be better if I was able to kill like a Street Raid or Curator here and just hold a Scion back for the blocks. Okay, so here opponent goes with everything. Opponent goes with everything. I have one blocker here that is enough to gain 3 life and survive, but opponent has endurance to prevent me from pumping hers to 3-4, gaining 2 less life and dying this immediate turn. So that was the game and the loss against Living End. So that was the entire league. I hope you liked the gameplay, hope you liked the video. Friendly reminder to click like, click subscribe, comment down in the video, tell me how do you feel about this version of Zoo, which is definitely plays some cards which are good in certain matchups. I think Invasion of Tarkir is great against all the aggro matchups like Yawgmoth, which could become a big player now that Nadu is banned again, and it's great against stuff like Merfolk and great against Energy especially. And Moonveil Regent is much better now when we have Arena of Glory. That is kind of the big upgrade. The Moonveil Regent is just so much better with Arena of Glory, and we have 2 of them in this build. And as I said, it's great with Leyline of the Guildpact, and when you have Leyline on the field, if you kill this guy, it deals 5 damage to any target. That is like the amazing ability in this build, when everything you draw like deals damage to face. And we have access to some very strong Sideboard cards. If my Hearse was like a 3rd Soul Guide Lantern, then I would get a trophy here, but it wasn't. So yeah, I keep Hearse still because it is good against when you're playing against Boros Energy and all the Phlage decks, and yeah, it's really good there. It's not just a hate, but also a big threat that can deal a lot of damage in the mid and late game. And that's it. Okay, so thank you for watching again. And thanks for watching this far until the end. And that is it for today. Goodbye.